What in the world did I just sit through? What did I just witness? I'm pretty sure I just had years shaved off the back end of my life. What a tough, ugly watch this game was, and on top of it, they lost. They lost.
When the Indiana Fever took the court on Saturday night against the Los Angeles Sparks, fans expected an exciting, hard-fought matchup, perhaps even a turning point in the season. But what unfolded was something far more controversial. What began as a routine game quickly devolved into yet another glaring example of officiating chaos in the WNBA, and this time, the evidence wasn't just questionable, it was flat-out undeniable. From questionable foul calls to inconsistent whistles, it became clear that the referees were once again becoming part of the storyline instead of managing it. Players and coaches from both teams showed visible frustration, and fans on social media erupted in real time, calling out what many described as blatant bias and embarrassing officiating. For the Indiana Fever, who have already been under the spotlight due to Caitlin Clark's rising stardom and the league's heightened media attention, this felt like another slap in the face.
The one thing with that last play that I'm speaking about, it seemed like they called it a loose ball foul at first, which would have been favorable for us because we have them in the bonus. Yeah, we were in the bonus with 5.5 minutes left to go. First time all season. I was shocked. We grabbed the rebound. Looked like they called it a loose ball foul. Yes, we could go to the free throw line. Oh, they changed it.
The Fever fell to the struggling Los Angeles Sparks, 89-87, in a game that should have been remembered for its intensity, not its controversy. But the final score wasn't the real story. What truly stole the spotlight was the referee's shocking disregard for basic player safety. One moment, in particular, left fans and commentators furious. Sophie Cunningham had her face blatantly grabbed in plain view of the officials, and they did absolutely nothing. No whistle. No review. Just silence. It was a jaw-dropping lapse in judgment that ignited outrage across social media and left players visibly stunned on the court. In a league that preaches fairness and protection, how does something this obvious go unchecked? The lack of action wasn't just a bad call, it was a statement. And to many, that statement was loud and clear. Certain players just aren't getting the same respect.
The LA Sparks just got the spark versus the Fever for some reason, man. But the Sparks always have matched up well with the Fever since last season, man. Tough ending for the Fever girls. Just some missed free throws, some questionable shots. Could have got it, man. Close game. I ain't even mad. The intensity is there, man. This team, if they can keep up this intensity, is going to be real nice when Caitlin Clark.
This wasn't just another rough night of questionable officiating. This was systematic referee bias on full display. It was a moment that exposed everything fans have been saying about the WNBA's officiating problem. In one of the game's most disturbing sequences, Sophie Cunningham was literally tackled to the ground during what began as a 50-50 ball challenge. But it didn't end there. As she hit the floor, an opposing player grabbed her face, right in front of the officials, and the refs still refused to blow the whistle. No call. No review. No accountability. The message this sends is dangerous. Player safety is negotiable, and enforcement depends on who you are. For Cunningham, it was another moment of disrespect in a league already under fire for inconsistent officiating and blatant double standards. And for fans watching at home, it was more than just a missed call. It was a turning point that confirmed their worst fears about bias, favoritism, and the lack of professionalism in WNBA refereeing.
And the referees, let's just blame the referees and say, hey, but you called a loose ball foul. This was a game that we should have won. Again. And a game that we lost, unfortunately. 89-87, Los Angeles Sparks defeat.
Meanwhile, the inconsistency became even more glaring when Cydney Colson was whistled for a foul on what was clearly a clean defensive play. She went straight for the ball, no body contact, no excessive force, just textbook defense. But somehow, the same referees who ignored Sophie Cunningham being tackled and face-grabbed decided this clean play was worthy of a whistle. And it didn't stop there. In a moment that perfectly captured the absurdity of the night, the officials spent nearly 5 full minutes at the monitor, debating what should have been immediately clear to anyone watching. Colson's play was legal, obvious, routine. But under this crew, it turned into a drawn-out spectacle of confusion and indecision. The contrast couldn't have been more obvious. A violent face grab gets ignored, while a clean steal becomes a televised courtroom trial. If that's not the definition of bias, what is?
A disaster. This was a disaster. The Indiana Fever cannot keep losing to teams like the LA Sparks if they're supposed to be a good team. And Rickea Jackson, she just flat abused the Fever in the last 3 minutes of the game. Seriously.
The contradiction was absolutely mind-boggling. Sophie Cunningham gets tackled to the floor and has her face grabbed in plain sight, yet the officials stood there as if they were watching paint dry, completely motionless, completely indifferent. Moments later, Cydney Colson executes a textbook defensive play, cleanly going for the ball with no contact to the body, and suddenly the referees come alive, blowing the whistle like it's Game 7 of the finals. The hypocrisy wasn't subtle, it was glaring. How does a face grab go unnoticed, but clean defense becomes a crime? The double standard was so outrageous that even the game's broadcasters couldn't ignore it. You could hear the confusion in their voices as they tried to make sense of what they had just witnessed. This wasn't just inconsistency, it was a case study in blatant officiating bias, and everyone watching knew it.
Cydney Colson, man, shout out to her, dog. I can't overlook her. 6 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds with that intelligent block, like it. 2 of 4 from the floor, and then 2 of 3 from the 3. I mean, she was shooting like she was the scorer of the team. She put on her airy bag tonight.
And we talk about this. We are circled on everybody's schedule. Everyone, no one likes us, right? So everyone in our locker room, that's the only type of people that we have that we can lean on. And we got to be better in that area. We have got to stay disciplined. We have to stay focused. We need to get consistent, and we got to lean on each other. And I think that we've kind of wavered a little bit on that. We have our own islands, but as one of the leaders on the team, I got to do a better job of grouping people, right? In the fourth.
When the Indiana Fever took the floor Saturday night against the struggling Los Angeles Sparks, fans expected a bounce-back performance, a statement win. But what they got instead was something far more frustrating, yet another painful reminder that WNBA officiating is broken. The Fever lost a winnable game, 89-87, to a Sparks team that entered the night with just 5 wins all season. But the final score wasn't the real story. What truly stole the headlines was the blatant officiating bias and total disregard for player safety that unfolded in plain sight. Police Starlight Sophie Cunningham targeted again. This is the same Sophie Cunningham who has been consistently targeted all season for what? Protecting her teammates. She stood up when Caitlin Clark was getting mauled, and now she finds herself on the receiving end of the same abuse. In the first quarter, Cunningham dove for a routine loose ball. Sparks guard Julie Van Loo didn't just contest the play. She grabbed Sophie around the neck and face. The contact was clear, deliberate, and completely unnecessary. And yet, no whistle. No review. The referees called it a jump ball, as if grabbing someone's neck is now part of a regular basketball play. This wasn't just a missed call. It was neglect. It was a dangerous precedent that puts every player on the floor at risk. Meanwhile, Cydney Colson gets penalized for playing defense. Let's talk about Cydney Colson, because she deserved better. 6 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, no turnovers, and a clutch block that was a thing of beauty. 2 for 4 from the field. 2 of 3 from three-point range. She played like a leader and a shot creator. But her award? A whistle. Colson made a clean, intelligent defensive play on Sparks rookie Raquan Jackson, stripping the ball with textbook form. And what did the refs do? Called a foul. Then they spent nearly 5 full minutes at the monitor trying to figure out what anyone watching could see instantly. She never touched her. How does a face grab get ignored, but a clean steal gets put on trial? Man-face palming, officiating double standards are killing this team. Let's call it what it is. Selective enforcement. The refs are protecting certain players and leaving others vulnerable to actual physical harm. You grab a player's face? Play on. You play good defense? Foul. And it's not just hurting the Fever's record. It's actively putting players like Cunningham at risk. Time and time again, Indiana has had to use challenges on obvious calls